Hello guys and welcome back to my YouTube channel, and today I'm going to teach you how to create a live set. So as you guys can see, I have Boston Studio here in front of me, and the first thing I'm going to do is going to EQ. It's off. I'm going to engage it. Everything is at 0, and the first thing here where it says flat, I'm going to cut up to 6.30 because it's like a kind of a 2 amp where it goes almost like 5, 6 and maximum probably 8. And I don't want to get rid of those nasty frequencies. And then also I'm going to leave some space for the bass player around 40 or 50 hertz and the kick drum of the band. I'm going to leave it as it is right now. So we're going to start with a clean tone. I'm going to engage variation mode, and for now I'm using my Les Paul Custom. And now in both pickups it sounds like this. It sounds okay, but it needs a little bit more of a refinement for me. Also, I'm going to change the cab resonance for vintage and start dialing here some tones. What I see from what I can hear here on the room, although it seems okay, it's a little bit muddy around some mids. Could be a little bit more detail. So I'm going to start with a regular EQ. Also, there's too much bass that you probably won't need. I'm going to start with it like this. Take a little bit of mids and testing as I go. So I increase the treble, as you guys can see. It's sounding better already. Doesn't have that boominess to it. Now, in terms of the chain, I'm using this chain, which means the booster and mod and FX are in front of the amp. And I want to start with the modulation, and going here to the tab, I'm going to choose an EQ because I might need it. A parametric, a graphic EQ. Okay. So I'm going to start to sculpt my tone a little bit from here. It's in front of the amp. So I'm going to increase a little bit here, around 125, to give it a little bit more body. Small increments, you don't need much. Here also. I'm going to take some here. I'm going to increase a little bit here. See how it sounds on the bridge pickup? On the neck pickup by itself. It's a little bit of mids that I'm going to scoop as well. Around here, 630. This is low mid gain. I'm going to take a little bit. You guys already know how the low mid Q works, I believe. So to the right, it's a very tight curve. To the left is a very open one. I'm going to totally open it. And I'm happy with the sound right now. Okay, now I'm going to add some effects to it. Probably first a reverb. I don't know what reverb is engaged. Let's check it out. Okay, so let's go to the reverb tab. A whole reverb. I'm going to reduce the high cut. The density is too high. I'm going to put it like this. Increase the level just to see how it sounds. Please don't overuse the reverb because your sound will get lost. You don't need too much reverb, or else, unless you're playing alone, your guitar will be will disappear. Let's try here the room reverb. I think I prefer this one. I'm going to cut it even more. Even the low cut here doesn't need to have reverb on the bass side. Okay, let me take out some density and some effect level as well. Sometimes with the reverb, especially with the tail of the reverb, you can listen to the sound being a little bit muddy on the speaker. with the tail of the reverb. That's why I cut it so high. I'm gonna leave it as it is. I like it. I'm gonna add a little bit of delay, nothing fancy. I don't know what delay comes in. Tape echo. Yeah, I like this one. And I'm gonna put this around probably 420 and increase the level just to see how it sounds. A little bit too fast, but I'll leave it as it is. A little bit higher. Too much feedback, we don't want that. Or like this. And too much level as well, so I'm gonna take it. Yeah, it's sounding good. You can increase the reverb, of course, or use a different, like a plate reverb. I'm gonna use probably a plate reverb, increase a little bit more. Okay, so it's cool. And now on effects, if you wanna add some effects to it, what we have here, heavy octave, I don't want nothing like that. I'm gonna add some chorus. I'm gonna make sure that the low rate doesn't go so high. A little bit more on the high rate. And I believe I don't want this so high on the low level, even on the high level. Let's see how it sounds now. I like it the way it is. Now we can mess around with the gain and volume knobs as well because it's a little bit too low. So it's sounding good. Also, here on the noise suppressor, it's disengaged. I'm going to engage it, put the release to the minimum, and the threshold could be like this because you really don't need too much of a noise reduction here. Just increase a little bit the bass here, and I think we're done. Okay, so I'm gonna write this patch as I'm gonna call it Be Very Creative and call it Clean. Okay. Now, one thing I like to do for the next tone will be a crunch tone. It's copy the same thing into channel 2 and call it once again very creatively. Is that even a word? Creatively crunch. Why do I do this? Because I want to preserve my EQ settings basically and turn off all of this stuff except for modulation, reverb, and put it on the crunch channel. So I'm gonna go as the channels are crunch, lead, and brown. So we already have a little bit of noise. So I'm gonna increase the threshold around 30 will be probably enough. See how it sounds. Wow, this is very fizzy. Let me take a little bit of volume. Let's go to the EQ. I forgot on the other one didn't make so much difference, but on this one, be sure to choose amp out. Even so, it's a little bit ear piercing, so I'm going to reduce the treble. And I'm going here to my mod tab and decrease here 16K, around even 10, doesn't matter. Let's see how it sounds now. On the neck pickup. Since we want like a crunch tone, I'm going to reduce a little bit the gain. Want like, I'm looking for a sort of a warmer tone. For in between in some songs, you know what I mean? Okay, let's continue. Still not happy. A little bit of harshness to it. I'm going to increase here. No, it's okay as it is right now. Much better. Just increase the presence and take a little bit more of the 500. On these pickups, they're a little bit hot, so it drives a little bit more than my other Les Paul. So I'm going to reduce the gain. Reduce the treble. I want a warm tone. Increase the volume. And I think I'm happy for now. Let me check out at 5K how this sounds. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it on 5K because it's a lot warmer. And this way will suit more guitars because you just need to increase the treble on your amp. So let's go into the reverb, engage it. And now let's choose like probably a room or a hall with less decay or reverb time. Okay, a little bit more. You don't need too much here. Just a warm reverb. A little bit of pre-delay. And let me put this like this. Now you want the tail to be a little bit more audible on the IN, and some delay also. I really like to take echo delay and the ST3000 because and the modulation gives you some kind of cool modulation. For this type, just to be different, I'm going to use an analog delay. Like this. Let's see how it sounds. It's almost imperceptible on the recording here, and you probably can just hear it when you have the amp in the room with the patches. Probably live, you want to increase this a little bit more until it cuts the mix. Not the delay, because it will have like a slap kind of effect to it. Or the idea here, also a cool idea, is go for a plate reverb, and on the delay increase the time because it sounds really good, like around 700. Now let's go into the reverb. I cut a little bit more. Increase the delay time, volume, I mean. Yeah, it's sounding good right now. I believe right now it's kind of cool. Now, if your sound gets lost, and this is what would happen probably, just reduce a little bit both the delay and the reverb, because in a mixed situation or a live band, it will probably get a little bit lost, and you don't want that. So this is kind of for those parts that you could go actually with a lead tone or the brown channel and just roll down the volume knob, but you can do that also here. Like roll down a little bit. Almost, you could almost not hear it, but it's very warm. I'm gonna just take a little bit more here, around that frequency. Let me check out if that's the one. less presence. For that softer part on your song, or a song that just needs a little bit of crunch, that if you play softly, it's very dynamic, this amp, as you guys know, so you can have a clean tone or okay, so I'm happy with this one. Write it, crunch. I'm gonna do the same thing for our rhythm tone, channel 3, and I'm gonna just call it lead, very creative, once again. And I'm gonna maintain for now the EQ, but I'm gonna change the channel. I'm gonna take the delay and the reverb once again and mess around a bit with EQ probably. Let's see how it sounds right now. If you want, you know, for those parts where you need a rhythm tone with more distortion. Now, depending on your style, you might need more distortion, less distortion, depends. But this way, on this patch, you'll need necessarily a booster because things will start to get a little bit muddy on the low strings, on low, you know. And you probably, depending on the style of the band that you have, want to have some tightness to it, right? Some bands don't require that. Other styles of bands might require it. So I want to engage my booster, and probably it's like a, let me put this at noon, and this also 50, and see what difference does it make. A more solid, tight low end. Let's check it out without it. And also a little bit more distortion. If you put a 2 screamer on this, 2 screamer has that effect that will take you a lot of bass and increase a lot of distortion and increase also the tightness. So it's more of a taste thing. It also needs to increase the threshold here. I'm very near the computer, so it makes more noise, okay? I could reduce the gain a little bit. Let's see if I like it the way it is. Now you don't want this sound to get lost in the mix, so I'm gonna put a little bit more here, or cut less. It's sounding pretty cool, so let me just put some reverb on this one. And this kind of a, let's go for a room reverb. Just a little bit of reverb here, nothing fancy, okay? Increase the level just to see how it sounds. So you see, if I move a little bit, the noise disappears because I'm in front of the computer. You don't have to put, depending on your guitar, so much high of a threshold, but let's increase a little bit more. So I think it sounds great. You don't need any delay for this kind of tone. So let's go for our last tone. Let's click right. First here, just we don't do something wrong. And then channel 4. Let's go for another great name. The brown channel will be our solo. Okay, so we have the same kind of booster. Everything's sort of the same thing, right? But you want some different EQ here. I'm going to increase the mids right here. I'm going to decrease the treble because I want the sound to cut but to be warm. So just by doing this, it will be a little bit more different. And the perceived volume is higher, although it's not higher in the volume. On the booster, we can leave it as it is. Just we're gonna reduce a little bit the tone here, -5, and see what happens here. The guitar that sustains forever. And I'm gonna increase the drive here, okay? And now on this EQ, this EQ here on the modulation, I'm gonna increase more of 250 because I want to cut the mix and also here when it's solo time, okay? No volume here. So I think the bass tone is kind of cool. I'm gonna take bass. I don't need bass. I'm gonna take bass here because it builds up, believe me. I'm gonna take a lot of bass. And now I'm gonna deal with my reverb because I want a different reverb. I'm going to a plate reverb. Now this time will be different. Let me check it out, how it sounds. I'm running out of time on the camera. So this part will have to be a little bit more fast or faster. I don't know what's wrong with this guitar in the positive way that sustains forever, like I told you. Let's go for the delay, and now I want the faster delay, like this. Increase the time. Let's see what we have here. And without messing with the volume, the perceived volume it's much higher because you just increase the mids and stuff like that. So always on the vintage cap, I'm gonna click right, okay? And I think you have a very cool solo tone. Now in practical ways, my foot switch is not here. You'll need the GAP AFC foot switch. We have the clean tone. Okay. Now we need some crunch for some part, I don't know. Let's here match volumes. A little bit more, doesn't hurt. Okay, let's write this down. Running out of time, let's go for our lead and see how it sounds. Cool. It's written down already. Let's go for our brown channel, solo time. And did you guys realize that I didn't have to put this like on the booster, the solo level or anything like that? Just using the EQ, I can get a higher volume perceived thing. I don't know what's going on in English, but doesn't matter. Okay, just to confirm, right. Now I'm going here into Librarian, create a live set, and call this another wonderful name, live set, so you can use it live. Okay, and now just do this. 1, 2. For those of you who don't know what a live set is, in one patch you have 4 patches, or you can have as many as you wish to. Now I'm going to click this export button, choose my live set file, live set MK2, going to the desktop, save. and it's there. Now I'm gonna put this on the link description of the video, on a link on the description of the video, so you guys can download it, try it for yourselves and see how it sounds with your guitars. You might need to make some minor adjustments depending on the guitar you're using, okay, because I'm using a guitar with humbucker pickups. I didn't make this live set for a Strat, but I will do it. My next video on how to do a live set will be with a Strat single coil pickup guitar, so other people can take advantage of it. But for right now, we'll stick with humbuckers, okay? So thanks for watching, guys, once again. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. That will help a lot. And stay tuned for the next video. Cheers.